Now again, we're going to make sure that our reel seat and gimbal are lined up perfectly with the spine. So what we're going to do is double check the spine again. This blank is a conventional blank, and the rod I want to build is a conventional rod. I need my guides to go on the outside of the blank. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put my guides on the back side. And what I'm going to do to double check that, again, find the spine right there. Okay, that's it. So I'll put that bend in it again. The right way to do it is on a spine finder, but for video purposes. Now I've got my spot marked where my guides are going to go. My reel seat needs to line up, and my gimbal. All right, make that line a little clearer. The China marker will rub right off the blank, so it's not an issue. And now, all I need to do is make sure my reel seat, mark my reel seat, again, directly in line with my mark. Now this is the mark that I put on the outside of the curve. I can tell it's a fatter mark than what I put on the inside, so I know I'm on the correct side of the blank for this type of build. Again, I'm going to look down it and put an imaginary line between this hood, and my mark on the blank. If I had a laser, I would shoot it right down that line and make sure everything was straight. And you can actually do that with a laser pointer or the Renzetti lathe. Has an attachment where you can put a laser down it. Okay, now we know our reel seat is straight. Now we have to make sure our gimbal is lined up. As you know, a gimbal has a cross in the bottom of it, and that's how you're going to sit, or that rod is going to sit in your fighting belt when you're fighting a fish or a chair or whatever type of fishing you're doing. And the crossbar in your belt or your chair is going to be perfectly horizontal. So that's exactly how your gimbal needs to be. Up and down and straight across. Nothing side to side, straight up and down. So what we're going to do is just align top slot with our reel seat, and then again our mark on our spine. That looks good. All right, and what you can do, you can go ahead and stick this in the corner, let it cure, set up overnight, or what I like to do, just to be safe, is go ahead and take a piece of 1/4-inch masking tape, actually 2 pieces, pretty good size and length. I'll show you exactly what I'm doing here in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and take the tape and put the middle of it right through the slot and up on to my grip. That way I know that when this rod cures, that gimbal has no chance to spin. I know the reel seat's on there because it's tight and it's squished between 2 grips. It's not going anywhere. The gimbal, on the other hand, you put it in the corner, it rolls a little bit. The rod slides down the wall. It may knock your gimbal off center. It's no fun to fight a fish with a reel cocked to the side because your gimbal is crooked. So what we're going to do is just, again, another piece through the gimbal. Now we've made a cross with our tape, just like that. Our gimbal's not going anywhere. We've double checked to make sure it's straight with our reel seat and our blank. We don't have any gaps in our grips. We've cleaned up all our excess epoxy. Now all we need to do is sit in the corner overnight, let it cure, and we'll come back and wrap our guides. Now if we were to build this rod with a butt cap, what we've done instead of putting our gimbal on, would just simply been slide our butt cap on. It's just a rubber butt cap. This is a doorknob style. It's what I prefer. And when you stick this in your hip, it's real nice and smooth. You got a big surface area to distribute the force of you pulling that rod in against you, so you've got it seated nicely. But if I'm fishing stand-up with a belt or a chair, a gimbal is the way to go. Now with a butt cap, we would have just built our arbors again and simply slid this over nice and tight, snug. Don't have to worry about any which way or lining up the gimbal with a real seat. There is no gimbal. There's no right or wrong with a butt cap. Just make sure it's flush up against our foam, and that's good to go. Now, we also sell caps to go over gimbals, to where if you're fishing, you don't plan on having to use a gimbal, you don't plan on having to use a belt, or sticking the rod in a chair, we'll take the cap. We got caps big enough, and we'll just pop right over the gimbal. That way, if you don't, if you're not going to use a belt or a chair, you don't have this gimbal, this aluminum gimbal, sticking in you and cutting you up. Simply throw a rubber cap over it, and you'll fish as if you had a butt cap there.